All right. Hey, everybody. What's up? It's me, Sara G with the Smack, and I'm back. So listen, today I have a very lively and engaging presentation, and I want to just be very clear that I want this presentation to be highly interactive. So thanks to y'all for chatting in your questions. Keep them coming at me, y'all. I have a presentation prepared, but really this is about you, and I want to make this as relevant as possible. So I'm going to just share my screen now. And I'm going to start on the presentation that I prepared. So here I am. My name is Sara Grillo, by the way. And if you would like to connect with me on LinkedIn, I think that would be awesome because I do a lot of things that are very good modeling for people, and that you can learn a lot just by watching me on LinkedIn. First of all, what questions do you have? This is what I have so far. Some people were chatting in additional questions that aren't here. But what I see really as the biggest question that a lot of people have about social media is, how do I use it to build my business, but not just get attention and overall generally brand, but like, how do I get the dollar bills, y'all, right? And I actually have seen people do this really well. I myself have built a business over social media. However, at this point, I am not a financial advisor. When I was a financial advisor, I was able to get clients from social media, and some of the people that I work with have been able to too. So I definitely have the secret sauce here. And it's not just the quote unquote broke millennials or Generation Z or whoever that you could reach over social media. I'm going to talk to you about how to get those highly qualified clients, and it's going to be awesome. So let's go. Now, so I'm just going to start off by talking a little bit about LinkedIn and what the cycle is. And now I know there are so many questions here. I'm going to pause and do a question break in a few minutes, but let me just talk to you about LinkedIn. Okay. So the first thing is you absolutely can adopt a quality, not quantity approach. Folks, write it down, please, right now on your notepad or whatever you're using. Okay. Qual, not quant. Qual, not quant. Okay. I don't care if you do one posting a month on LinkedIn. In fact, I would much rather prefer that until you figure out how to maximize engagement and response. So I think this is going to cover a lot of the questions that I'm already seeing here that I've had chatted in about, do I need to get high views? High views do help, but I've had very successful postings that were just highly response bearing, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about how to get a higher response. I have a script that I'm going to teach you about how to post things on LinkedIn so that you get a higher response rate. I did not program the LinkedIn algorithm, but from what I know about it, the postings that get a higher response rate are the ones that get shown to more of your network. So let me just cover something. This is a misconception about LinkedIn. If I have 10,000 followers, y'all, I do have 10,000 followers, by the way. If I have 10,000 people following me and I post something, how many people does that get shown to? I'm going to give you some answer choices, okay? 1, 10,000 people. 2, 1,000 people. 3, 5,000 people. What do you think? Chat it in, y'all. Tell me, what do you think is the answer here? Immediately when I post, how many people does LinkedIn show that to? Thanks for your participation, y'all. Keep it coming. 1,000, 3,000, 1,000, 5,000. Okay. The answer is I have 10,000 people, okay? 700 of that see the initial update. Why does LinkedIn do that? Thank you so much. I see these chats coming in. Thank you. We are totally interactive here in this presentation. Thank you for supporting that. Okay, 700 people. So here's what happened. LinkedIn, I posted something this morning. LinkedIn shows that to 700 of my followers, the 700 people that LinkedIn thinks this posting is going to be the most relevant to. And it's probably the people that have liked this kind of content in the past of mine. Okay, depending on the response rate. Now, again, I did not program the algorithm and I do not work for LinkedIn. After 1 hour, folks, please write this down. Folks, please write this down. After 1 hour, LinkedIn says, how many people responded on this? How many people liked it? How many people commented? Likes and comments. Comments are the best though. Why? LinkedIn loves comments because comments get the discussion started. Okay, so LinkedIn looks at how much discussion did I have on this posting? And then LinkedIn then decides if it's going to show my posting to more than the initial 700, or if it's going to bury it to oblivion and let it go to the graveyard and show it to no more people. Okay, so What is the lesson that I want to tell you on this? And this goes for all of your social media. This is not about being the smartest person in the room. It's not about being the most intelligent. It is about being the most responsive. And I'm not saying that you compromise your integrity of your message. I think that you can do both, but when you post something, and like I said, I don't care if it's once a month, because I am advocating for you doing this in a quality way that will get responses from the people that you want to reach. That is why if you want the algorithm to favor you and you want as many people in your network to see your postings, you must maximize the response of the posting. Okay, there are a few different ways that you can do that. I can cover that later. So you post, but posting is not enough. What you've got to do as well in a very focused way is that you've got to reach out over LinkedIn Messenger and get connected with the people that you think would appreciate this message who are qualified prospects. So yes, I know that on your LinkedIn, you probably are connected with vendors, you're probably connected with family members, you're probably connected with friends, with past colleagues, with other financial advisors. Not really that helpful, Sarah. Yes, I understand that, but I also know that there's the ability on LinkedIn to initiate a connection request. And as long as you do that in an intelligent fashion that is not overly sales oriented and does not portray you as the typical financial advisor trying to push products or be boring, as long as you do this in a way that shows this is a cool, credible resource that might be useful for me to be in the future. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right away, if you think that you're going to push your message and get anybody to respond and accept that connection request, I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. And even if somebody does accept the connection request, they're going to be really skeptical and holding you at arm's length and probably ghost on you and not respond to your messages after that. So what I'm saying is the postings are how you attract new connections to yourself. If they are responsive, they will do that because at first, remember, the postings go to only 7% of your network, but then LinkedIn will push it up to more. Heck, it may even push it up to your second and third degree connections. I've had some second degrees in there. When I have a good posting, I see people commenting and sharing and liking that are second degrees. That means the posting was awesome. You did a good job. But that's important because you want those second degree people. You want to then initiate a connection request with them, get them into your LinkedIn Messenger. So I established a goal of 20 people, okay? I established what I call the list of 20 on my membership, okay? Which is my social media coaching program, whereby you take 20 people at one time. Because I don't know about you, but I don't have time for a pipeline of 400 people. I'm one person. Like I have like 4 kids, and then I have Antonio that I had my kids, like my partner, right? And then I have like my parents and my brother, and like I can't even remember everybody's birthday, y'all. Plus I got my current clients, okay? I don't have time to keep track of 400 prospects. And I know that if I sacrifice quality of communication for quantity, then I'm going to sound like a bozo. Because I'm going to be making thoughtless comments that make me sound like the typical salesperson, and that is the enemy. Absolutely not what you should be doing. Sincerity, authenticity, genuine messages. Okay, so this is the cycle, okay? You post, hopefully you get attention, connect in with the new people. If you didn't get any attention from new people, that's okay, because at the same time, you should be getting that list of 20, getting them onto your messenger, getting them into your network by initiating connection requests with them. And then guess what? This is a critical item. I please would like you to write this down, folks. After you connect with somebody, the first posting that they see of yours, after they connect with somebody, after you connect with somebody, the first posting that you do after that comes up in their feed. You come up number 1 in their feed, okay? So, what that means is that you essentially have the spotlight on you right after they accept the connection request. They're going to connect. You're going to reach out and say, "Hey, I'd love to connect with you. You can see my updates here on stimulus impact. Thought it would be useful to you, right? Whatever." They connect. They accept the connection request. Then all of a sudden, they see your update in the newsfeed, which is why LinkedIn is putting you front and center in their newsfeed right after the connection, because LinkedIn wants to give you the chance to develop business with that person, to get into that person's mind. So this is why the postings have to be of quality, folks. They absolutely have to be. No jargon, no overly technical stuff, no product pushing, no typical financial advisor or broker messaging, no boredom, okay? Let's talk about sincere postings, pictures of you in action. It's great to post videos, do these polls or surveys that you can do on LinkedIn, do a PDF download, a checklist of some sort, give them a PDF they can download using the document download feature in your LinkedIn, okay? So when you're connecting with them on Messenger, they then start to see your postings. Then they see a few more of your postings, then you message them more, right? You're gonna do it strategically using sincere and authentic messaging. You exchange some words. Now they're seeing more postings of yours. The whole time you're doing these postings, you're getting new people that are seeing your postings, you're connecting with them. Keep cycling it. You're messaging with them a little bit, exchange a few words. They're seeing your postings, more messaging, more postings, more messaging, more postings. This is the cycle. Okay, and the reason I say this is because it has to be both posts and messages that you are hitting these people with. And the reason is that some people don't like being marketed to. They are just, maybe they had a bad experience with somebody. Maybe they just don't want to be approached. Maybe they just want to watch you for a while. There's merit to that. So what you really have to do is you have to allow them to self-select. Some people are really chatty. They love to chat over LinkedIn Messenger. They need that personal connection. They want to check you out that way. They want to find out who you are directly. So you have to do both. But like I said, you don't have to knock yourself out because you're only going to focus on 20 people at one time. Make it high quality. That is the most important thing here. So how do you, I'm going to just cover one more point, then I'm going to stop for questions. How do you make the postings relevant to your target audience? So a lot of advisors will post this kind of broad-based general stuff like, here's our view on Bitcoin, right? Well, that's not really targeting that posting like that. I mean, it might sound like make you sound kind of intelligent and official and professional, and it's a hot topic, but how relevant is that to your target audience, right? Is that specifically relevant? Let's say you're working with dentists. Is that relevant to dentists, right? You want to make it relevant and specific to the audience that you want to reach, and that is how you will attract these people that you want to attract because they're qualified. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down a question a day. Every day, at the end of the day, I want you to get a notebook or however you do it. And I want you to write down the most intriguing thing that a client or somebody asked you about that day. And after 5 days, I think that you will see that there are probably some pretty specific questions that will inform the people within that target market that will be very relevant to the people with specific characteristics, the characteristics that you want to reach of the person that you want to reach. Okay. And so I'm going to cover the structure of a posting. You have to structure your post a certain way, but I'm going to be silent for a minute and allow for questions. So fire them at me, y'all. I'm going to be quiet until I get more questions. What to do initially when you are not getting any response, as your reach will be less. Okay, so are you saying, okay, so what to do initially? This is a question here. What do I do initially when I'm not getting any response, as my reach will be less? When I'm assuming that you mean like when you are in the beginning stages of building up a network. Yes, so that's a great point. Here's what you could do. Thank you for asking that question. When you have a small network, what you've got to do is you've got to maximize responsiveness by getting the algorithm to work in your favor a little bit more. So what we've done for a group of clients is we've created a little bit of a what we call a pod, where we get a discussion group going. So at a certain time every week, we have 5 of my clients that get together and they all post at the same time, and then they all comment on each other's posts in a really authentic and genuine way. And I've checked this out with LinkedIn, and this is not like gaming or hacking as long as it's genuine. You have to make really genuine comments that further the discussion, because that is in fact what LinkedIn wants. LinkedIn wants you to get comments on your postings that generate more interest and attract more attention from people. So I would try to do that, get together a little bit of a pod. The other thing is there are certain ways that you can maximize the responsiveness of your postings, and I'm going to cover those in the next section. But the power of the question really is the importance of the information is what's going to drive the response. And you're going to ask a question to get that important information out to people. But if you're not getting good responses on your postings, I want to know, how important really is that information to your audience? And are you presenting it in a way that they're going to want to respond to? Is it fun enough? Is it cool enough? Is it easy enough a question to answer? Or is it kind of like looking boring? Is it too technical? Is it too esoteric? Is it something that they don't really care about? I would ask those questions if you're not getting a good response rate. Now, if you're not getting a good response rate on LinkedIn Messenger, we can cover that. I'm going to cover LinkedIn messaging techniques as well in the next part of the presentation. Could I talk more about quantity versus quality? If quality is good, won't quantity help? Yes. So if you're getting 1,000 or more, when you start to notice that your postings are getting more than that 10% response rate, like when you're getting views of 20% of your total network base or 30%, then what you can do is then you can increase the posting. So I suggest that you start with like 1, maybe 2 postings a month, and really, you're going to really plan them out. I'm going to cover how to do it in a minute. But when you see that, that's when you can increase the quantity, because yes, I myself, like I had a week when I was averaging like 2,000 views on a post, and I was posting every single day because that's just how well my algorithm was working for me, because I was really maximizing responsiveness. So yes, that's a great question. You can increase it when you're getting that better response rate. And so the other, how long should the post be? I'm going to cover that in a minute. I was in a I was in a recruitment firm, and it has a good following since I used to post jobs. Now I'm a financial advisor. Should I continue using the same handle or create a new? Yeah, absolutely continue with that same handle. Because like I said, even you just have to build new contacts in that client base using LinkedIn Messenger and using targeted postings. But it absolutely is an advantage, because you just never know who that was watching those updates could potentially be a buyer for you, and you don't know who in their network could be a buyer as well. So please don't start a new handle. I get a lot of views for videos, but I'm not getting engagement so much, despite, tagging people. Okay, so if you're getting views, but you're not getting engagements, you need to ask a question in the video. Okay, so example, you're making a video about how to save for your wedding. All right. So just in the video say, here's what you could do. You could say, please post below and let me know, what is your biggest question about budgeting for your wedding, right? Or some question about what you're talking about, and ask them to write their questions below, or ask them to write like, hey, I'm going to present a really interesting point here. So like, what is the key question or point that you want to get across? And then tell them, do you agree or disagree with what I've said? Please post below and let me know. But it has to be a fun question, right? So something like, should you go into debt? Oh, it has to be like a kind of interesting, controversial and fun question. Like, should you go into debt over your wedding, right? That should be the title of the video. Should you go into debt over your wedding? And then be like, hey, post below, let me know. What was your experience? Was this a good experience for you? Bad experience? Was it stress? Okay, what's better to engage a network? A thought-provoking image with text, a video, or a plain text with questions? And a video, what should be the duration of the video? 1 to 3 minutes for the videos. Okay, videos, here's the thing. Videos don't get as good I guess, higher views because, and sometimes they're not as engaging unless it's it depends on how you do it. Like, are you transcribing? Are you putting are you closed captioning the words into the video so that people can read? Because people sometimes aren't going to have time to sit there, put on their earphones and watch the video. Some people will listen, but it's much harder. It's 3 times as hard to get somebody to sit and watch a video. If you want a posting to get response, the best kind of a post that you could do is you could do a LinkedIn poll or survey. That is a capability. I could show you some on my feed in a little bit, or you could do a text only posting. An image with a caption is good, but you really got to be careful with images because if it's just a stock photo, that's not going to do great. Okay. It has to be a really good image and it has to be designed correctly. Okay. So you got to be a little careful about that. These are great questions, y'all. So now I'm going to move on to the next section. What's your opinion on appointing one staff, especially for replying to comments? No, do not do that. It has to be you because it has to be genuine because authenticity is what sells, y'all. This is the biggest enemy. I have to make the point. Sorry, I'm not yelling at whoever just said that. It's a great question. Authenticity is the biggest enemy on LinkedIn Messenger is you acting like everybody else or acting like somebody that doesn't have much to say and is a little bit blasé, okay? Take the time to be thoughtful and respond. Look at the person's profile, understand them, go to their website, know who it is that you're talking to, y'all. There's no substitute for this. It's going to take you a little bit more time, but like I said, focus on a few rich people rather than the whole world and don't blast out garbage onto them and you will see better results. Now, next questions. Okay, now there are 4 parts to a LinkedIn posting: the attention getter, the attention holder, the body of the text, and the call to action. This is a text only posting. These do great. I'm going to give you the script. Y'all, please take notes here. 4 parts to LinkedIn: attention getter, attention holder, body, and call to action. This was a posting that I did a few weeks ago. Here, I'm going to enlarge it even. Now, attention getter. There is one word in the English language that will get anyone's attention. Notice I have some symbols here, okay? Those are going to get a higher response. Do you want to know what it is? That's the attention holder. I get their attention. There's one word in the English language that will get anyone's attention. Attention holder, do you want to know what it is? What am I trying to get them to do here? I'm trying to get them to click see more. And why is see more important? Because see more is an engagement signal to LinkedIn. When you get people to click see more, LinkedIn says people are reading this posting. So that tells LinkedIn people like it and that encourages LinkedIn to want to show it to more people within your network, okay? But don't have one of these like awful block text, technical, jargonish, boring, no variety in the posting, like nice symbols, emojis, fire them up, y'all. And there's just 2 lines here: attention getter, attention holder, nice image. And then here is the next part of it, okay? So then I continue after they click see more, then they see this text. It is the word only. Instead of blah, 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 try this. This is the body of the text. I'm elaborating, I'm answering their question. Now, for more examples of how to use only in your marketing, drop the phrase magic words in the comments field below. I'll send you something over DM. Now, that's probably not a great thing to do because actually just say, drop a comment in the field below. I would say that because if you ask them to put the same phrase in, that actually is, LinkedIn could interpret that as gaming, actually. I learned this, like that is not what they want. They want a sincere, authentic comment from a person. So just say something like drop a phrase or drop a comment. If you want to know, if you want to get more examples of this, drop a comment into the comments field and I'll send you something, okay? So the structure was attention getter, attention holder, get them to click to see more. And then it is the word only, body, and then call to action at the end, okay? Now, That was my question on post. What do I have next? Okay, I'm going to get to messages next, but that is an example of how to create highly responsive postings. What questions do you have about that before I move on to the next? How can I incorporate? How do you create see more? You don't create see more. See more, you have to space it out. So when you're typing in your posting, you're going to do attention getter line, space, has to be a space. Attention holder line, 2 spaces, then body of the text. And then when you post it, LinkedIn is going to compress it and insert that see more right in there. Thank you. Great question. What's your, how can I incorporate incomplete sentences into my client conversations? I am going to cover that in a little bit. How do you use WhatsApp effectively? Okay, that's an interesting question, but I am going to cover that a little bit later. It's actually the same as LinkedIn Messenger. Pay attention to the next section on LinkedIn Messenger, and that's going to answer some of these questions. I have a low budget for social media. Love the question. Great. This could be done completely for free using the information I'm giving you in this webinar. Okay, free. What can I do to have a good stock of images without having to spend? Yep, I'm going to chat it in right now. Hey, okay, www.pexels.com. Those are free. Yep, Unsplash or Pexels free stock images. Use your cell phone. Yeah, actually, like there is data that I've heard that suggests that LinkedIn loves iPhone images. So, and again, it's authentic. Like you could do so well being like, here I am. I had one posting of like me and my son. I don't show his face. I don't show my children's faces on social media, but I had a picture of me and my son, and that got like 3,000 views on it because I had a really good storyline with it. So yeah, iPhone pictures. What can I do to increase my reach without spending on? Yeah, don't boost on posts. Okay, no, but I don't want anybody advertising here. Okay, I mean you can if you really want, but like I said, I just basically told you what I've seen as to how the algorithm works. I've had postings I did a survey, it got like 9,000 views on it. Okay, if I had to pay for that, that would have been woohoo, tons of dough. Okay, LinkedIn advertising is extremely expensive mundo because there are all these recruiters on there from like Uber and Google and the whole thing and Facebook. So you don't want to be advertising, okay? You get the algorithm to work in your favor. If it's a good posting, it wouldn't have done well on advertising if it wasn't a good posting. And if it is a good posting, it'll do well just natively in the algorithm. May I request you please share the 4 rules of posting once again? Okay, ready? Here you go. Here's the script, okay? And then I'm going to move on to the next section. Attention getter, attention holder, body, call to action, attention getter, attention holder, body, call to action, right here. Attention getter, space, attention holder, 2 spaces. Remember, you want them to click see more. Body, call to action at the end. Okay, next section, LinkedIn Messenger. Okay, now, here's what it is with LinkedIn Messenger, okay? You don't want to come across like a washing machine salesperson. The objective is to get the person to talk. Period. It's not to get a meeting. It's not to sell something. It's to get them to talk. And this is where everybody gets it wrong. Same as with WhatsApp, any kind of messenger app that you're using. You're not selling anything or getting any meeting until you know what the person really cares about. Because then there's no reason for a meeting unless you know that. Okay, so I'm going to talk with you about how to structure your LinkedIn messages. First of all, they should be 2 sentences or less. 2 sentences or less. First sentence is a statement of information. Second sentence is a question. First sentence is a statement of information. Second sentence is a question. Okay, get that list of 20. Send everybody a message once a week for, I say 3 weeks. I would say maybe even 2 weeks. But you could send them 3 messages, 1 every week. If they're not responding, stop. If they are responding, then continue with the sequencing. So LinkedIn message sequences are comprised of 3 messages each. Do the sequence. If no response, get them off the list of 20, get somebody else on it. If you are getting a response, but they're not ready to get that meeting yet, you get to repeat, go into another sequence. Ask yourself the golden question, would I mind getting this message if I were the recipient? I'm ashamed to say it, but even myself, I'm a master at this now, but even myself, sometimes I mess up and say stuff that I read it and I'm like, I don't know. Could I delete? You can't recall it once you send it, right? Okay, so the 2-sentence rule, 2 sentences. I just said first statement is a sentence, second sentence is a question or an exclamation. Then focus on one idea at a time. The 2-sentence rule works brilliantly because of its simplicity. I mean, do you know how complicated we get in our communications? Do you know how really like overloaded people are to begin with? The way we communicate, if it's overly stressful for somebody, they're just going to turn off. Don't give people too many options. That's why it's 2 sentences. One is a statement. Second sentence is a clear call to action. And that's it. You must be silent and wait for them to respond. You must be, okay? Now, how do you 2-sentence? Okay, now, I want you to ask yourself in this LinkedIn Messenger conversation, what's the most important piece of information I need to give to this person? And then what do I want them to do? Okay, so again, 2 parts. The statement, what is the important information I want to give to this person? What do I want them to do? For example, I have 4 children, right? This is an example of how this is how the 2-sentence rule originated, because I'm always talking to them in 2 sentences. I'm always running around crazy. I'm going to control 4 children under 7 years old. You're going to break your neck. Stop jumping on that couch right now. I noticed I was speaking in this sing-songy pattern and it was working, right? Because I wasn't like lecturing on and on. It was very controlled, right? And I was like, this is so effective. I should make a business tool out of this, right? So first, give them the important information. You're going to hurt yourself. Second, what you want them to do. Stop jumping on that couch right now. Okay, important information, then the command or the question. So here's an example of a LinkedIn message. Hello, Anthony, where's your fashion group? Say this person is a, like my Antonio is like a fashion guy, right? Fashion executive. And so I see his picture. So here's the important thing about LinkedIn messaging. In the first message, you must have it be about them, not you. Write it down, y'all. Them, not you. Them, not you. Please write this down on your papers, okay? The reason is that if it's about you, they're going to get the impression that you don't really care. And you're just like every other annuity pushing, index pushing financial advisor. You're going to be like an octopus, okay? Don't be that washing machine salesperson. I did an experiment in the month of January where I just exclusively focused on, in my first message with the person, I exclusively focused on having it be about them. In some cases, I took it to an extreme. I scoured their websites, found out, and you would be surprised at how much people put on Google, put on Facebook. I was like a detective. I found out things about them. So for example, this, my Antonio, for example, he loves fashion. He has a fashion group for people that like want to learn about working men's fashions, right? It's called Working Men's Fashions. Okay. So you could send him a message. It say, you connected with him he's a prospect. You want to get his business, right? But you don't say, hey, I'd love to get your business. I'd love to do a free review of your portfolio. I'd love to talk with you about your investment strategy for 2021. Hey, did you know that there's a recession? I'd love to talk to you about an annuity. Hey, Anthony, where's your fashion group for people who have no fashion sense? Can I be the first member? Okay, or say, hey, Anthony, I saw that you have a fashion group for people who want to learn about fashion, or I have no fashion sense. Can I be the first member? Joke, use humor. Am I coming across like a yucky washing machine salesperson here? No, I'm actually starting a conversation and I'm looking at what he's into. I'm acknowledging something that's central and important to him. How about this one, Javiera? I'm doing some research on highly successful, compliment in disguise. And it shows I read her biography. I'm doing some research on highly successful female executives and Social Security for an upcoming blog. What questions, if any, would a high achiever like you have on this? I'm sincerely interested in her experience as an executive, in what life is like for her. I want to be a resource. I want to be relevant to her. These are great examples of messages, okay? So I will tell you that in the LinkedIn messaging sequence, there's a beginning, a middle, and the end. In the beginning, it has to be about them. In the middle is where most of these messages fall down. You have to transition in, okay? So basically, let's say that they're responding and they respond back, oh, that fashion group, yeah, I just started that when I was, I became an entrepreneur. Oh, really? So here's how you transition that. So Anthony says, yeah, that was something I started a few years ago, right after I moved into starting my own company. Oh my gosh, yeah, I was reading about that. And how has your experience been so far running that company? Oh, well, you know, it's just me so far, but I'm looking to hire my first person. The employee benefit question coming up. Now you can transition it. That is so wonderful, and congratulations. What are you looking at in terms of your benefit structure? Have you given any thought about how you're going to structure those employee benefits? I've transitioned in easily, naturally, conversationally, and I haven't done it joltingly, like, oh, hey, Anthony, hey, I see you're into fashion. Oh, yeah, I started this fashion group. That's great. Have you considered a SEP IRA? No. This jolting, there's no connection. It's not like how you would normally talk to someone you met at a cocktail party. It's just like overwhelming. They're going to ghost on you. Okay. So that's the transition part of the message sequence. And then in the end, you want to leave it a little bit incomplete. Think about what the action is that you want them to take. And you want to end it a little bit abruptly once they agree to take that action. Hey, here's the scheduler to set up a meeting. Like, let's say they agree they want to set up a meeting with you. Here's the scheduler. I'm off to feed the chickens. Say something that kind of interrupts the pattern, and you want to run away at that point, because or like make it to be continued. You're going to be like, here's this blog. I'll follow back with you next week to send you my second blog on this subject, right? You want to give them something. It's kind of like you want to build the suspense a little bit. There's an effect called the Zegertnick Effect. Psychologically, the mind can't move on, or it is items in your mind that are more prominent are the ones that are incomplete. Blooming Zegertnick was a psychologist, and she found out that when she went to a restaurant, she noticed that the waiter could remember the details of her order, but then after she came back, after the order was complete, she asked him about the order, and he had no idea. He couldn't remember anything about it. And it's true. So incomplete actions always work better if you really want to make sure that people don't forget you. So end it with a bang, be abrupt, and always leave a little bit that is to be continued about. That's what I got on LinkedIn Messenger. What questions do y'all have? Fire them at me. How to get started on this? I mean, a few hours a week, 20 people on a list, one message a week. Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger is one-to-one communication over the LinkedIn Messenger in your inbox on LinkedIn, and posting goes to your whole network. What if someone's not very good at writing? That is cool. You know why? The shorter, the better. Keep everything to 2 sentences. And I've made a very clear plan here, a statement and then a question. Just keep writing, write it down, write down drafts, and then select the best one, and you'll get better at it over time. But there's only 2 sentences, so it'll be easier to practice this because it's not going to take you all day. Okay? Okay. How does messaging help the algo as opposed to a post? It's funny. I thought a post was always better. Post and message, it's a cycle. Okay, yes, the postings do help the algorithm, but I have heard informally that people who message on LinkedIn Messenger do get better results in having their postings boosted up, because I guess that if you're messaging along with people, that means you're like maybe a more popular person, and then popular people that are communicating over LinkedIn, those are the people whose postings LinkedIn wants to boost. But I didn't program the algorithm. It's just something I heard from someone who's knowledgeable about this, so don't hold me to that. But like I said, it's a cycle, post and message, and I described how that works in the beginning of this presentation. One more question, and then I'm moving on. How is writing an article different? if you're going to write articles and then post them to LinkedIn, you can still use the text-only LinkedIn posting format that I described, but just as the call to action, you would say, please click the link in the comments field to read my full article, and refers away to the blog post. No direct links in the body of the blog post, of the article. I'm sorry. No direct links in the body of the posting. You always want to put a link in the comments field. Important point, y'all, please write it down. No posts directly in the body of the LinkedIn posting. LinkedIn doesn't want you posting links directly in the body of their postings because they don't want you referring away to another website, because remember, they want everybody on their platform having a party. If you put a link in directly in the body of your posting, that's kind of like you showing up to LinkedIn's party and saying, hey, everybody, guess what? I'm having a barbecue at my house. Let's jump on my scooter and drive there. It's only 3 blocks away. Come with me, y'all. LinkedIn's not going to like you, just like that. The party host's not going to like you because you're stealing their show, right? Keep the traffic on LinkedIn, but if you have to post and you have a blog to post, and put it in the comments field. You can see all of these things I've done. If you're not connected with me on LinkedIn yet, please connect with me on LinkedIn. You can see examples. I do practice what I preach for the most part, but especially with that, you're not going to see me posting links in my postings. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next subject, which is getting started on Facebook. So, the fundamentals that I've described are the same for any social media platform that you'd be working on. Facebook, same thing, posts and messages, posts and messages, posts and messages. You should establish both a personal and a company page. I myself, I'm only connected with like my family and Antonio on Facebook. So I use my company page. And I just found that on Facebook, like one thing that's pretty dead on LinkedIn is LinkedIn groups. I've not gotten great, I mean, there are exceptions, but for the most part, LinkedIn groups are just these like spam dumping grounds. But on Facebook, I've seen like these really good, strong community groups that people really do exchange worthwhile information. Like I'm in a mom's group. I have an autistic child, which I think is actually pretty awesome. Really different, different ways of experiencing the world, but it's just been such a learning experience for me, and I absolutely love this. But I was in this community group at the first, like before he was diagnosed and when he first got diagnosed, and I at some point was thinking I had to sue the school system, right? So I'm in this community group, and these special needs parents community groups on LinkedIn are like very, very active. Like I got so much good advice from it. And then but let me tell you what happened. There was this one time when I posted up and I'm like, I'm like, hey, y'all, I'm suing the school system and this and that, and they did this and that, right? And this one attorney responds back and he's like, well, if you're going to do that, have you considered this or that? He posted up to that discussion. He wasn't like, hey, why don't you come and hire me and then I can go sue the school system for you. Now, he is a school system suer, but he just posted back like a really thoughtful, engaging discussion point. And I was like, And so I looked him up, and it ended up like we had a conversation. It led to a meeting for him. I was a lead for him. So just don't be too business focused initially. Like Facebook is definitely not as business like a forum as LinkedIn. Like you got like the cat people and the mom, like there's a lot of like non-business activity groups on there. But if you can get into one of these community groups, like just be that cool person in the community. Don't be that like business card bearing, pushing financial advisor, right? Getting started on YouTube. So the story was that I got started on YouTube. I had 2 babies under 2 years old and no way to go out and network in person, but I had this YouTube channel and I just started posting on there about how I passed the CFA exam. And I mean, pretty like bad background, like kid stuff all over the place, but the content was so good. And I was just being sincere. And I was like, just talking about how I passed the CFA exam and how do you study for it and this and that. And then people started emailing me and they were like, actually, that was so great. Do you think you can give me a coaching session on how to pass the CFA exam? So here are my tips for this is that, again, write down the questions that people have. And there's just the same as for LinkedIn. You want to get relevant with those client questions. So write down your clients' questions for a week and then start making videos about them. Some people say like want to use a teleprompter and stuff. I think it looks so inauthentic. And I would much rather have you just like use like 20-second intervals, like just talk for 20 seconds at a time and then stop talking and pause and then get your next 20-second interval set up and then record it. And then you can edit out the spaces in between. I would start with a 1 to 2 minute video. Some people ask me, what's the ideal length for YouTube video? Whatever you can get people engaged on the most. Keep in mind that YouTube just wants watch time. So if you get a 2-minute video and you get 6 people to watch that entire 2-minute video, then you've added 12 minutes of watch time to LinkedIn, to YouTube, right? Now, if you have a 3-hour video and you get one person to watch for 5 minutes because it's so long and boring, you've just added 5 minutes of watch time, and YouTube's going to push that down. YouTube pushes up stuff that gets good watch time. And really the ideal thing is you want to put keywords in the title and in the summary below the video. You can do keyword research on Google. Those keywords are really important. You should also say your keyword right in the beginning of the video. Hey, y'all, today I'm going to be talking about retirement strategies for dentists. Retirement strategies for dentists in the title, in the summary, in the first 3 seconds of the video. But the thing is too, you want to get put as a suggested video on YouTube. So you want to be that video that comes up right after the video is done, that it just gets led into naturally and then appears in the suggested videos column on the right. So you may want to look at the competition and look at what the popular videos are in that space and look at what are the elements that they discuss in that video. And then because it'll be more relevant, to the audience that watched that successful video, YouTube is more likely to put that as a suggested video. Just be human and be cool. YouTube, I've done some like crazy stuff on my YouTube videos, and some people like it, some people don't, but just generally they like the authenticity. Can you get a call to action? Yeah, on a YouTube video, you absolutely should have a call to action. Every YouTube video, you should be saying, hey, please join my newsletter list. It should be a lead magnet. You should be like, hey, join my newsletter, whatever the video is about. You should be like, okay, so if you're like talking about retirement for dentists, you should be like, if you're retiring, you really don't want to miss these 6 tips for dentists who are retiring in 2021. Click the link below to subscribe to my newsletter list, and you'll receive this PDF in your inbox. Yeah. That's how you build your newsletter list from YouTube. But I want to tell you that YouTube is a Google product. So if you could get this working for you, you'll be a money-making machine, y'all, potentially. Okay, getting started with podcasting. Podcasting is great because you can have conversations with industry experts and you can share with their networks. So what you should be doing is you should get, like, I call it Team Grillo. I have a team of like 10 people that are close influencers. They talk about the stuff that I talk about and they're willing to share their network with me. Don't have anybody on your podcast. Listen, I learned this lesson the hard way. Don't have any of these like selfish, non-sharing people on your podcast. The people that are like, well, I can be on your podcast and be in front of your whole audience, but I'm not sharing mine. I'm not sending out to my network. I'm not going to post it on my social media. I'm not going to put it in my newsletter. I'm not going to put it on my website so you get a backlink. You should have an agreement drawn up before you engage with that person and just say, look, here are my ground rules. You post the podcast to your social media channels. You send it out in your newsletter within a month. You post it on your website in the news section, because Google really likes it when there are people that talk about the same subjects as you and they've put your content on their website, because that again establishes you as an authority and makes you more trusted in Google's eyes in a specific topic of expertise. You really want this. Podcasting can be very effective if you do it intelligently, but don't be like me, how I was in the beginning of when I was podcasting, where I was like, well, I'm just going to get any old person on the podcast and the bigger names will be great. Like I had one like semi-famous person on my podcast and he didn't even share the podcast with his network. It was the biggest waste of time and I'm bitter over it. So what I mean is just have great conversations. The quality of the conversations can be really great. You can really get great leads from this if you do this correctly. And I have had leads myself come to me by having great knowledgeable subject matter experts that I interview, get the questions straightened out beforehand, get the guidelines and the expectations straightened out beforehand, and go for it. That's all I got on podcasting. Now for some questions. What's software for editing videos? I use Wondershare, Filmora. I'm not a Mac user. Wondershare, Filmora, it's okay. It's not like that expensive. Oh my God, my hat head, right? Anyways, it's not that expensive and it's relatively easy to use. What's your view on social media versus traditional media, time and effort on TV shows, radio shows, writing columns and blogs for media publications, companies, via time spent on social media that you are suggesting? Is there a metric on which one is better than the other? Being conscious of time because we are constrained on marketing ourselves? Whew, I don't know. I mean, like I myself write for a magazine called Advisor Perspectives. I've written for them for 3 years and it's worked out really well because just for some reason, like people that read it tend to dig my vibe. But I've also guest blogged for other publications and like it didn't work out at all. So, you know, you kind of got to feel it out, but like if you can get in front of somebody else's audience by getting on a TV show or radio show, I don't know. I mean, I think that tends to be way more expensive. It matters what your bandwidth is. And I don't know, if you have more questions on that, Amit, then please let me know. I don't know if I've answered that question. I'm not the biggest fan of traditional media anymore. Which app would you recommend to get started? I use Blueberry. Here, I'll type this. Sorry, I'm gonna to everyone. I use Blueberry. It's been okay, but one feature that Blueberry, I don't think the version I'm on has that is useful is the ability for someone to like timestamp the podcast. So like somebody can be like, in frame 205, I talk about retirement for dentists, right? I keep using that example, but I talk about this topic. In frame 5 minutes, at 5 minutes, I talk about this topic, right? That allows people to skip forward. I don't have that on my podcast, and I think that's a disadvantage. So I don't know if I would recommend Blueberry. So I think Zencaster or whatever is another one people use. My comment on podcasting in India, there are already a few on personal finance. Getting on them may be more useful than starting another podcast. Yeah. It could be. Like, I mean, keep in mind, like if you're going to do this, it does take a while to build up your audience. And yeah, like the question about traditional media, like, should I get on the radio or TV? I mean, look, with a TV show, like if you go and get a TV appearance, you're just, I mean, I've had live appearances myself, and I just have found that if people aren't directly on TV or watching TV at that point, or like watching YouTube, like LinkedIn Live at that point, it just gets lost on them, right? So I don't know, I think it's hard nowadays. I think people like to listen on their own time. If you could get, I think if you could get on a podcast as a guest, I would, if I didn't have my own podcast, that's what I would do. I would just go get a great topic, be a great speaker, like blog and write and be a knowledgeable expert on some really, really interesting topic, like intriguing topic, and make the podcast host be like, wow, if I have this person on my show, my audience is going to be so interested in this. That's how you get on podcasts. That would be awesome if you could do that instead of starting your own. How successful were you on YouTube in terms of engagement? Well, I mean, my videos lately haven't been doing that well because I'm like I have made it a focus to focus on equity research interviews, and I sell a book through YouTube on this. That's like, I've sold a lot of copies of my book through it, but that's a much more focused keyword, like equity research and portfolio management interview, or how to pass a CFA exam, like for example. So I get lower views on those, but I have 8,000 followers on YouTube for me right now. And I do get a lot of comments. Like, I don't know, people love commenting on my videos on YouTube. Depends on the country. In India, there is still, okay, there is still a lot of people who watch TV in small towns and cities. Yeah, well, you know what? Get on LinkedIn and get on Twitter. Twitter is good for media personalities. Like get on Twitter, get on LinkedIn, and go reaching out to those TV producers, right? If you have a video reel or some kind of evidence that you've presented before and it was a really good presentation, if you have something to show them, generally that's a lot better. TV has a huge reach in India. Good. Like I said, get on social media, get on LinkedIn Messenger, and go start talking to people. Do you feel views are better if the post goes at a specific time or day? I don't know. I've had postings do really well, like in the middle of the weekend. I think night is not a good time to post generally. I think during the day between 10 and 2 p.m. in the local time zone of the your audience space, like when your audience is on, wherever your audience is, 10 and 2, between 10 and 2 their time, I think works really well. I've found that the later on in the day, the worse. Even on the weekends, between 10 and 2 does tend to work better, although the weekends are generally lower time. What's the most fun app for you? YouTube. YouTube could come next, particularly if you have them in non-English languages. I see OTT as a great medium to host discerning content and attract eyeballs of HNIs. OTT. I'm so sorry, but I have no idea what that is. How do we, I'm trying to think, I don't know what that is. How do we get to understand relevant topics to choose for our posts in our network? Okay, so I want you to write down every day for a week the most intriguing question that a client asked you. Netflix. Okay, OTT is over the top streaming like Netflix. Okay. I mean, like, you know, TV and traditional media is a lot harder. And here's the other thing is that a lot of times you have to be an advertiser on those networks in order to get screen time. So it can be very costly. Like I said, your choice. And there's also like a glamour component to it too, but I've seen social media, like once someone's following you on social media, unless you do something preposterous, they're probably going to keep following you. So it's much more of a nurture type of a strategy to be creating a following organically on a social media platform. And then also you can get those people onto your newsletter. You can, you know, create a long-term, like an asset for your business. Whereas TV, it's like the person has to be there, see you over and over again, probably. Like the thing is, like, people tend to trust you more when there's repeated interaction. There's no interactive element either. They can't message you or talk to you. However, I could be biased because I'm a social media person. So the questions I got for this were reaching the target market, the best one. I covered that. How to attract qualified people, not millennials. How to talk to new people about money. LinkedIn Messenger, I covered that. Time management. Qual, not quant. Y'all, 20 people on a list and one posting a month until you start to get more engagement. 1 or 2 postings maybe. How to get your clients onto social media. What you should do is you should initiate a connection request with your clients and their children if they have adultish or maybe even teenagerish children on LinkedIn. Avoid being considered spam. Relevance, and like I said, you always have to ask yourself, would I mind getting this communication myself? What would I think of it if I weren't me? Need an example of advertisements? I showed you a few. I could show you more. How to cope with regulation? Yeah, just again. Like, people are way less likely to engage with a product or a performance discussion. You really want to make it more about them. Like, one of my best postings was, should financial advisors use emojis in their LinkedIn title? It's an intriguing question. Compliance is probably not going to, like, people aren't that intrigued by some of the stuff that compliance generally has an issue with. So, like, I'd rather have you post a picture of like you eating a donut, a different donut once a day for a week, rather than like posting one of these advertisement style postings that compliance is going to have a problem with anyways. The regulators are not going to have a problem with you eating, like you volunteering at a charity event, picture of you with your dog. You know, great question about what is the biggest question, asking a question to dentists, right? Dentists, I want anyone in my network. What would you like me to talk more about here? What's your favorite kind of a drill? Dentists, I want to know from every dentist in my network, which drill is your favorite kind of a drill? Do a survey, give them different options. Compliance ain't gonna have an issue with that one. Get more views on YouTube. Like I said, keyword optimization, and also try to get as a suggested video by watching your competition's videos and mimicking, not copying, but mimicking some of the topics that they talk about and the style in which they create their videos. Success leaves clues, and especially on YouTube, it should be obvious. Do you have to get high views on YouTube? I have had success selling my book and getting interested qualified clients from videos on YouTube that were less popular, but just really relevant to people and that they really felt they appreciated because it was high value. So yeah, I think, you know, okay, hold on. I got some more comments here. you know, I'm not going to argue against anybody getting a lot of views on their YouTube videos, but at the end of the day, we're in this to be able to reach directly the people that we can help. And so, and I've been able to do that, having videos that recently haven't been doing that well. New comment, some new advisors in India have built a good lead funnel from Quora. Yep, Quora, you could do that as well. Again, like, it's just a question of relevance. What are people really interested in, and having great insights about that? All of this takes time, which is why I say quality rather than quantity. What do you think about Medium and starting a publication there? Sophisticated investors are there. Sure. Keyword optimization, relevance, attention getter, attention holder, everything. My daughter's been pushing for me for Instagram. I can't cope with YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, traditional media, now Insta. Please recommend any two, I hear you, and 2 social media options you can focus on. I can't do it all, but I can focus on 2 of them. Well, LinkedIn, number 1, okay? It's the number 1 business platform. So provided you're not working with like people who are extreme into retirement. If you're working only with like 70-year-olds, then that's not going to be a good medium for you, because working people tend to be on LinkedIn, and the people that influence them. So, but regardless, I would say LinkedIn. I had an attorney contact me over LinkedIn this week, actually. I'm no longer a financial advisor, but he liked something that I posted and he saw I was a CFA. So their influencers definitely are on LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn, number 1. And then for the second one, I think it's hard for me to say if you like doing videos or not. But first of all, I think you should establish a Facebook and a Twitter page. And I think you don't have to put a lot of energy into it, but just establish those to have it so that if someone likes that medium, they can follow you there. You want to be accessible to people. You don't have to post or post a lot, but you should at least have a Facebook and Twitter, maybe even in Instagram. I'm a big fan of video because I like YouTube. I'm biased because I've been successful with it, but I like it because it's a Google product. And if you can tap into a keyword on Google and get Google to market your business for free and basically send you traffic, I think there's nothing better in the world. I've had videos go viral on YouTube and it was like the best thing in the world for my business. However, I'm biased. You know, I haven't been uber successful on Twitter or any of these other, well, I mean, LinkedIn, I've been successful. So I would tend to be biased towards that. But the great thing about YouTube too, is you can create content there and then you can take those MP4 files, not the link, but the MP4 file, and upload it natively onto LinkedIn. So it does have, you know, a like cross relevance or usage there too. LinkedIn, YouTube, got it. You're welcome. I know we had a lot of questions in the beginning. I don't know. Oh my gosh, there's 50 people on the chat. So let me ask y'all a question. Like, is this helpful to you so far? How to customize content when we want to post the same thing: video, pictures, text on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Well, on YouTube, it would be a video. On Instagram or Twitter, it would be a picture. Well, you could, I don't know. I just post the same content. I know I'm probably not supposed to do that, but I don't know, experiment with it and see what format your audience likes best. Like I said, some people like watching videos and then other people don't. I think it's hard to get views on video on YouTube, but then again, it matters what your production is. It matters how good the content is, right? I think regardless of the form of what kind of content it is, if it's good content, I think people are going to consume it. Can LinkedIn really help you? We already covered that. Do you feel social media will shift from YouTube, Facebook to Twitter? I mean, who cares? Because there's going to be, no, sorry, not to be dismissive, but at the end of the day, you're there to build an audience and find your people wherever the targets are. So wherever I've seen people that are millionaires because they've done well on YouTube. Those same people wouldn't necessarily be good on LinkedIn. It's very specific to you. Podcast or YouTube or both for financial advisors. What do you suggest? You can create a podcast, and then while you're doing the podcast, you can make a video out of it. So you can record it and just use the audio file for your podcast, but you can use that YouTube. You can make a clip of it and post that on YouTube. That's what I do with some of mine, and it's worked well. Okay, 18 new messages. Not, okay, very helpful because not been using spaces at all. Very helpful. Passion started contagious. Very helpful indeed. Learning. Blah, 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 blah. If they unmute us, it will be nice. Okay, extremely great session. Okay, good, cool. Thanks for your comments, y'all. Can y'all connect with me on LinkedIn? Because I'm always posting about this stuff. Like, even if you just scroll back in my feed, this week I've been posting a little bit about advocacy because I'm a little upset about predatory lending with margin trading on Robinhood. Oops, sorry, did I say that? Anyways, like, I'm a little upset about some stuff. So I've been posting advocacy stuff, but if you scroll back in my feed, there's like so much stuff there. I'd really love to have you just be consuming that content because I'm always posting about this stuff and I think it'll be really helpful. So Irene, what do you have more questions? You want to end the webinar? What do y'all want to do? Shouldn't you just focus on one platform that works best with your personality type rather than being everywhere? I mean, yeah, like but you'll see that, like, you'll see what gets the best response. And then, yeah, there's only so many hours in the day. I would say try 2 platforms first. Can you share some examples of advisors who walked your talk? Yeah, so there was this one. So first of all, I will tell you that my clients, I have this membership program, and it's like social media coaching, and I have books on LinkedIn Messenger. I wrote this book, 47 Financial Advisor LinkedIn Messages. And that book has helped so many people just by virtue of the fact that it gives them messages to say. But I have had so many people that have done really well in setting up meetings over LinkedIn Messenger, just using the messages that I've written, but just using this 2-sentence rule. They walked the talk of the 2-sentence rule and they're setting up meetings. I had another guy that, one of my clients, what he did was he got like 30 of his clients to comment on his postings within that first hour, the golden hour. And there was a point in time, I haven't talked to him lately, but there was a point in time when he was getting like 2 to 3 leads a week from LinkedIn because there was just so much visibility on those postings because the algorithm was just pushing it up, because every time he posted, he had his clients posting these like genuine thought-provoking comments on his postings. And he just did great. Excellent point. Comfortable with the platform. What about women as a target segment and Instagram as the primary medium? Yeah, I mean, it's been said that women are taking more of a guiding role with the finances. So definitely it helps, like, especially woman to woman. I've seen men do well with women sometimes too, in terms of getting them as clients. It depends on the angle you take it from. Like, if I were still a financial advisor, which I never will be again, right? But if I were, I would use Facebook, and I would go on to some of these like moms groups on Facebook, and I would just get to know everybody there because there's such a tight bond with some of those communities. But yeah, that definitely can work. Can y'all see my LinkedIn screen? This posting isn't doing that well today. Chat, nope, okay. No one can see my LinkedIn screen. Okay, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna share again. Want me to show you some of my LinkedIn postings? Would that help? Okay, now can you see my screen? Yes, yes, yeah. Okay. So here we are. Here's some of my postings, right? This one yesterday, this is an advocacy posting because I'm upset about predatory lending. So I posted this and I was like, this is the funny thing. There wasn't that much engagement on this posting in terms of overall comments and likes, but I think it was because of this see more. It's kind of an engaging graphic, kind of a little bit of mystery and intrigue. And so people wanted to see more. And I think it's because of people clicking that see more that this now has 1,400 views on it. Not bad. Then again, like this, it could be so weird, but again, like, should financial advisors use Clubhouse? Attention getter. It seems like a compliance nightmare. Attention holder, right? Body, 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 call to action, comment below. And I've got some comments there, okay? This one, yeah, incomplete sentences work so again, like this is a great attention. And then get attention getter, attention holder, engagement signal, see more, click the blog in the comments field, and here are my comments, and here's my blog, right? So this is an example, like I was telling you, of don't put the link in the body of the posting. I would consider this a successful posting because I was hearing from a lot of people on this. It was just highly useful. Like it's a tip, like when you end a prospecting conversation, leave it a bit incomplete. And then I have this whole blog on it. People were reading this blog like crazy. It was a successful one. Oh yeah. This one wasn't even one of my more successful posts, right? But these polls or surveys, like y'all, if you can do polls or surveys, then do it. Because it's so easy for somebody. It is so easy for somebody to comment, to enter their answer or their response to a poll, and they don't even have to comment. Like they don't have to think of something intelligent. They can just, you've done the work for them. These postings are absolutely, like these polls, you can absolutely go viral. I had 9,000 views on one of my polls that I did. No need to respond on screen. How long was, okay. So I would say like, I'm just going to talk for 5 minutes more, okay? Is everybody okay with that? I'm going to end this. If you have questions, please ask them now because I'm going to end this session in 5 minutes. Send them in, y'all, okay? This one is just like a posting of a live stream that I'm doing. Yeah, okay. These videos, this is what I mean. Like these videos, I didn't transcribe this video, so it wasn't great. I'm having an advocacy flair right now. So I'm just like kind of throwing stuff out there, not being as careful about it. Oh yeah, look at this one here, right? Light it up, financial advisors, see a symbol, use a symbol. Interesting question, something people are really opinionated about, 2,000 views on this poll, right? Okay, this is a PDF posting. This was something like so many people, this is successful. Another one, look at 2,000 views on this posting, right? This is a PDF that people can download. I wrote a sample client letter on this advocacy issue and, directing them to download. Really worked. If you could give someone like a checklist or something that they can download as a PDF, these are great postings as well. It's a different kind of posting. It breaks it up. Again, like, one of my videos, much harder. It's got about 1,000 views. Much harder to get people to sit and watch a video, but this was a very impassioned topic with a lot of my followers. So it did okay. Another PDF posting. Oh yeah, this one did really well. This one did well in terms of like helping me to get people interested in my business, in my book. People bought my book after they read this because it was not copied from the book. It was like not a clip from the book, but it was very like taken from the book almost. So how to get more subscribers on your YouTube channel. Okay, so how to get more subscribers on your YouTube channel is you want to have continuity of your, again, like incomplete information. Like you want, with every video, you want to get them to watch the whole video by saying something like, hey, I'm going to give you 3 tips and then 1 bonus, stay till the end for the bonus. And then at the end, you want to say like, you want to get them to take an action, whether it's download my, like, join my newsletter list. And you also want to say, like, in future videos, I'm going to be talking about this, 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 and that. Please subscribe to receive notifications about these future videos. Sometimes people will subscribe if they are digging you, just for the virtue of that they are digging you. But sometimes they have to have a logical reason. Like, that really would be the best thing. If you say, I'm doing a series in the month of March about medical malpractice insurance and how to buy it. Please subscribe to receive those videos. And again, keyword optimization, get shown as a suggested video, all of that, right? Oh yeah, so this, for example, this is a podcast that I did. And again, like a full podcast in the comments field below. I basically recorded this as a podcast, but then I also made it a video and I took a clip from it. That's an example of how to, like, take that podcast and make it a YouTube video as well. What kind of frequency of message would LI treat as some kind of spam? I mean, what do you mean message, like a LinkedIn message? I mean, like 20 people once a week. Okay. One posting, if you post once a week, I don't think, you know, as long as nobody marks it as spam, like overly promotional stuff people aren't interested in, stuff people aren't relevant to stuff, pushing your services with no indication of interest. Is it a good idea to have, that's what gets marked as spam. Is it a good idea to have an auto schedule of your social media post, like Meet Edgar? An auto schedule? I don't know how that stuff comes out. I've seen sometimes with some of these auto schedules, like they can sometimes make the formatting not great on the posting. So I don't know, but look, I'm not into pump and dump. Like, I'm not into automated and this and that. Post the posting, and then when people respond or like or comment, you want to thank them and say, hey, thanks so much for your comment. I love that you talked about, like, what I talked about today. Like this guy right here, he posted my article and he tagged me, right? And so I shared it with my network and I commented on it, because that's like what LinkedIn wants you to do, y'all. LinkedIn wants engagement, interaction, human dialogue, and conversations. That is the kind of thing that LinkedIn rewards. So if you're going to just post and run, that's not a good strategy, because you want to sit there and respond and reply and get the party going. Don't run away from the party. Posting from personal or business handle has better viewers, or use the business handle or post personal handle. I don't know. I post to both of them. I don't really focus on my business page on LinkedIn because not a lot of people are following it. And you also can't get connections on your business page. You get followers, but you don't have people you can directly dialogue with and message with. I like LinkedIn Messenger. Like I said, the cycle: message, post, message, post, message, post. Business page, I can't, if someone's following my business page, I can't LinkedIn message with them. So I'm not that interested in that. All right. I think that's it for the presentation here. I'm going to end it. Can we end the presentation now? Thank you so much. You're welcome so much. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you'd like, I'm ending it now. If you'd like also, please feel free to, follow my newsletter if you'd like. Thank you for sending your LinkedIn requests. If you'd like to join my newsletter list, my website is saragrillo.com. I have awesome newsletters that are really helpful. You may want to do that too. Okay, bye everybody. Wow, look at all these.